Hello there. Welcome to Hope Voyage. My name is Olowu and I'll be your host here at Hope Voyage. I just want to let you know that irrespective of your journey or your season, there is hope for you. Yes, there is hope for you, and He is in the journey with you. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much. This is our very first episode here on Hope Voyage, and I sincerely appreciate you. Yes, today you're going to be hearing from Joy Davids. She's really a phenomenal woman that you all have to look out for. So, guys, let's dive in. Today.
I'm very well, thank you.
So, we really want to appreciate you for doing this with us here at Hope Voyage. So, we'll
Mhm.
just begin. So, can we know you? Who is Joy Davis?
Okay, so um, usually when I'm asked this question, I'm stalked because I don't know exactly what to say, but I'm going to try today. So my name is Joy, and there's a surname attached to the Joy, which is Davis, and um, I'm a graduate of the University of Port Harcourt from the Department of English and Literary Studies.
Wow.
I'm the founder of Ideal Parenting, a hub that's built for parenting and all. And then I'm a writer, I'm a speaker, I'm a child enthusiast, and more importantly, I'm a Jesus girl. So yeah.
Yeah, I like that fact that it's loud and pronounced. I'm a Jesus girl.
Yes, I
Because
am.
because in this generation and time, I don't know, the distraction is much and a lot of persons don't tend to boldly say it. Talking about Jesus in some settings, I don't know
It's
how they
absurd.
feel.
Mm.
Yes, let's use that word. I think that word is the perfect word for it to really explain how most persons feel about it. But that's really good. Thank you so much, Joy. And we really like the fact that you're a speaker, you're a writer. And one part that really, I'm wowed most times when I see your status on Facebook is the fact that you actually teach or nurture parents. I don't know if the right word to use about how to really, parent children. And
Mm.
that's really amazing. I must say it's amazing. And I,
Thank
I
you.
feel you really educate yourself more about it, right?
Yes, I do. And then it's not just about the education, it's more about um, just understanding that this is the place that God has called me to be in. And um, it just gets, I just get more convinced day by day as God keeps unveiling things, certain revelations that I know that I
Mm,
am not supposed to get, but um, it's like a leverage on the thing that God has called me to be at or to be doing, okay, as it relates to the parenting part of my life. So there are a lot of things that I am privileged, to just have access to, especially as it relates to revelations and all. And I just know that many times it's not me, it's because of
mm,
the office, if I'll put it that way, that God has,
yeah.
called me into. Mm.
Wow, that's really a lot. And I'm grateful to God that you wear that hat very well because I think like most persons would say one thing is really understanding where God has called you and being firm in it and standing properly at it. Well, you guys should look out for Joy because she's one person that I respect a lot. I respect her a lot because of what she do, and I must say it's really a good one. We bless God
Thank
that
you.
people like you are here. All
Mm.
right, over
Thank you.
to Hope Voyage. What do you think is before we actually start um your particular story? What do
Mm.
you think Hope Voyage has for with their vision and their mission? What's your perspective? Let me use that word. What do you see it as so that others too can, tackle what you have alongside your story. What do you have to say about it?
Okay, so first off, I want to say thank you again to Hope Voyage, as you call it, for having me here. It's such an honor every time there's a platform for us to talk about certain things that a lot of people do not like to talk about. And
Okay.
so this is really beautiful for me, and I take it more like a privilege to be here. And then
Okay.
for Hope Voyage, the very first time you mentioned the name to me, I just, I think the word hope was what was pronounced. Okay, it's
Mm.
more like
Ah,
a place where, yes, people just come and they listen to something that gives them hope. People just
mm,
come and they listen to something that, we live in a world where hope is slowly going away, especially if you live in this part of the world. A lot
mm,
of people have little or nothing to hold on to as it relates to hope. All right,
mm.
so
Yeah.
when I heard the name of the podcast, that's the part of the podcast that really just stood out for me. And I think the name Voyage is like a vehicle or something. I'm not so sure, but
Like we're
that's
in a
what I
journey.
thought.
Yeah. It's like a
Yes,
journey.
journey, exactly. So I personally thought it to be like a vehicle. So this platform is
Okay.
like a vehicle to transfer or to transmit hope to people. So people
Mm.
just come
Okay.
here, you're down in your emotions, you feel like all hope is lost and all that. You just plug into Hope Voyage and your hope is revived. You have something to hold on to. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's just what I thought.
It's you just said everything because one of the things that was really louder here to me at whole voyage is the fact that a whole lot is happening.
Mm,
It's not the fact that we here in Africa were receiving it on a louder part because
mm-hmm.
we have so many things that are not working. We're like, God, are you sure you really
So
pleased me
many
with that?
things.
With those thoughts, many persons are deciding to find hope in things that are just temporal.
Mm-hmm.
Because I recall a conversation I had with a friend one time when I went to serve, and it was like, thank God we have Christ because bad as it is, or bad as you want to get, we
Mm.
always have somebody to fall back to. We lean,
Exactly.
and
Mm-hmm.
he makes the thing easy, the
Exactly.
journey, the season. Because everybody won't tell me that there's no point in your life that you were in a particular season that you felt like, are you sure I'm going to come out of this?
Mm. True.
But because we have someone that we could anchor on through that journey, we had hope.
Mm-hmm.
So that it's not far from what you just said. And I bless God that you really said it all. It's not like far from the truth of what Whole Voyage intend on doing. So thank you so much, Joy. I know
Thank
you
you.
have your story through your own journey you really want to share with people. People are ready and they want to hear and get strengthened.
Mm. I do.
So
I actually do.
we would love to hear your story. So what's your story?
Okay, so I remember when you gave me, you talked about being on the podcast recording with you, and you asked me to pick from a list of topics, and then
Yes,
I
please.
I saw failure or as a part of the topics that I have an opportunity to pick from, and without even blinking an eye, I just knew that it was going to be failure. And
Mm,
that's because every time I notice personally that every time I get to share this story I'm about to share, it just kind of have a way of encouraging someone out there.
okay.
Of course, the story of success and all that is a huge encouragement as well. But I feel like failure is more relatable, so a lot of people are like, oh, so she also went through things like this and she's still like
Mm,
this, she came out this way. If she can pull through, why not me? And all
yeah.
that. So I just quickly picked that, and that's what I'm going to be talking about. I'm just going to share a few stories. I'll just pick them here and there and see how to tie them up to say one thing.
Okay.
So um, I'm going to start from my secondary school journey. So I finished from secondary school, and I really wanted to gain admission into university. I mean, like it is for every secondary school student
Yeah.
who's graduated from secondary school. All right. So when you get to SS3, you're just excited that you're going to write your YEG, and then you're going to get into the university.
University.
So yeah, so I had that excitement, and I had more of the excitement, to be honest, because I felt that that was like an escape route for me, because
Okay.
I've always lived in an environment where, my parents, um, we actually lived a triangular life. We go to school, church, home, school, church, home, school, church, home. So I felt
Wow.
like that was my way of just
Freedom.
exploring.
Yeah.
So that was my way of just exploring in quotes, and just really, living without anybody asking me not to do this or do that.
Yeah.
Nobody's watching and all of that. I know that I had wrong reasons for wanting to gain the admission, but yeah, that was it. And then when I wrote my first WAEC, I did my first, because it was my dad's policy that would always do the WAEC, the NECU, and then the JAMB as well. So I did my WAEC, my NECU. By the way, I have a twin. I think you remember. So
Yes,
we
I
both,
do.
so
She
we
has a
both
twin.
did.
She does have a twin, a male twin. I was really
Yeah,
shocked when I noticed that your twin is a male. I met them in, I think, primary. I
yes.
said, wow, unbelievable.
So we both did the WAEC, NECU, and JAM thing. And then when we wrote the exams, he passed on first try.
Okay.
He passed his biochemical on first try, and then my results were not so bad, but my major problem was my math, both in my
Okay.
WAEC and my NECO. Yeah, so my JAM was excellent. In fact, all the times I wrote JAM, I always scored well. I
Mm,
remember I even gained admission. I think I gained admission twice, but I couldn't accept the admission because of my math in my
mm,
WAEC. So I did the first exam, my WAEC, my math, sorry, wasn't there. Um, and then my brother, my twin brother, at the time, my dad just decided that, you know what, since he already has a good result, there was no need him taking the JAMB exams. He should just go school in Ghana.
mm.
So he left for Ghana. Yeah, he left for Ghana to school, and then, um, I mean, I was in the house trying to register again for my
Again.
WAEC exams. Yes. Now,
Wow.
I didn't just want to register again. I told my parents that I wanted to go back to the school where I
Wow.
finished secondary school. Yes.
Seriously.
So I told them I wanted to go back because I was scared of the pressure of malpractice. I heard a lot at the time of how schools can put you people that head those schools like the admins and everything, they could put you under
Mm,
pressure to involve yourself in examination malpractice. And my secondary school at the time was one that never tolerated a thing like that. So I just felt like, okay, this is the best place for me to write if I'm going to receipt
okay.
for the exams. So I told them I was going to go back. And my dad was like, okay, if you're going to go back, it means you would have to like repeat your SS3 again. And the school also had that policy. Anybody who wants to write the exams with them have to register for SS3. So I registered for my
Yeah.
SS3 again. I paid fees again. Like I did three terms, sorry. Again, I paid fees again. I paid that's outside the fees for my WAEC and NECO and everything. I would go to school with my lunchbox and read devotions, and I would sit in class with people who once called me senior, so it was not a funny experience at all. But I mean, I had to do it because I knew that there was no way I was going to compromise. Now I think it was even easier for me when it was the second time, because I mean, I just felt like, okay, if I just write it this time around, it's going to pull through, right? But
Okay.
then it happened the third time, it happened the
Wow.
fourth time, it
Wait,
happened
wait,
the
wait.
fifth
Like you,
time.
let me understand this. You did the
I wrote
same
down,
process, the same
yes,
school. I actually know the
no,
school.
no,
It's a missionary school because we both went to the same
yes,
school. You
yes.
did it the first time, we did the second time. Your parents paid the whole fee, first, second, and third.
Okay,
The
no,
second,
I went, I went back just the second time for the exams, but the third, fourth, and I think the fifth time, I did the exams in another school.
wow.
Yes, so I did the exams in another school. I think from the third time to the fifth time, I started writing two exams, WAEC, NECO, and GCE, so that I could just
Mhm.
pick from anyone, but they all were just always failing. I mean, the math was the problem, or the all the time. And then in 2016, while I was still waiting, meanwhile, my twin brother, like I said before,
Yeah.
was in Ghana and was rounding off
Ha. Oh
his
my God.
school and ready to come back for his NYC and everything. So um, in 2016, I fell ill with tuberculosis, and it was so deadly that I I literally thought that I was going to die, because that was what it looked like. I was so thin. I could not walk on my own. If I walk to, like, I can't walk to anywhere. If I stand up to walk, I would just fall. So many times my people would help me take me to the bathroom to take my bath.
Mm.
Wherever I wanted to go, someone has to lead me to the place, else I'll fall down. So at first I thought it was just a normal cough, but we had to go to the hospital, and then we found out that it was tuberculosis. That was when it had even eaten deep into my system, because we were just treating
Mm.
cough and cough and cough, and then I was just getting lean. I'm not fat. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
lean already, but
Then I'm serious.
imagine when
Then
imagine when I get lean, when I say that I got lean, so people would
no,
come to my
I'm sorry
house.
for cutting you because what was
Okay.
going through your mind? You had a process of you trying to further your education. It's not working. You had done
Mm-hmm.
it over and over, and then you're now being diagnosed or something that you see. Tuberculosis. The day that I heard my mother had TB, I
Mm-hmm.
was the one that received the information that she did have that illness. I was like, "Are you sure this doctor is okay? How? Where did it come
Mm-hmm.
from?"
Mm-hmm.
Because what those things you see in Nigerian movies that the doctor will break the news and the woman will be like, "It's like I did not hear you." Where what was
Yeah.
going through your mind with this on the other side? Oh, okay. Were you bothered that your twin was actually done? You have not even started. You are fighting this one again with
Yeah,
your
yeah,
health.
yes. To be very honest, it bothered me. It bothered me, especially because my immediate younger brother, also gained admission, and I think he was in his year 2 at the time
Okay.
before I fell ill or something. Yes. So, at some point, I decided not to honor people's invitations for matric, because whenever I go for people's matric, I come home crying,
Wow.
and it was that bad. So when I was diagnosed of the tuberculosis, at that point, I had already given up on anything school. I had done a
Okay.
catering program. I think I had done a catering program like 2 years or a year before that time. So I had already given up on going to school. In my heart, I just told myself, if God doesn't want me to go to school, that's fine. If this math thing is not going to work, that's okay. I'm just going to stay here. Whatever it is that's going to happen should just happen. So I got to that point where people call breaking points, or it was the height of it, and I just felt like, okay, this is it. I'm not going anywhere again. So when the tuberculosis thing came, I
Okay.
actually thought that was the end of the road, like in terms of my life, because I felt that, oh, maybe this is why I'm not even getting the admission, because I'm going to die after
Mm.
all in a short time. Imagine I was in school and this happened. How would I have coped and
Mm.
everything? So when it happened, I just told myself, people come to visit me and they leave crying, because I was looking like a corpse. I'm sorry to say, but that's how it felt. Even my mom, said the
Mm.
same thing. In fact, I had to be taken out of my house to stay with my grandma because my mom said anytime she looked at me, she was only seeing my corpse and she
Oh
was
my
already
God.
thinking of where to bury me. So that didn't help her to, you know, to do proper, not medications now, but like to just really properly take care of me in that
Yeah.
state. So, cause she was always crying and everything. And then when people would come to pray for me, I would just tell them not to bother, that I was already dying,
Oh
that
my
I was dead.
God.
Yes, that I was dead already and everything. So,
Did you
um,
ever perceive how your parents felt during that season? Like, I know you are the only girl at that point. Did
mm,
you ever see through their eyes what they had, like prayers? Because I know your parents are, you know, spiritually strong. Because when I
mm,
see you guys, you are well devoted in church activities and
mm-hmm.
the likes. Did you ever perceive how they felt during that season? Or were they more bothered at you at that point, not necessarily what you were really in need of? Let's say your schooling, that point that had to be on pause, like totally. It's your life
Yeah.
now. They had to
Mm-hmm.
look at that. This is what you are going through. And the way me, I perceived tuberculosis in school is that it's a deadly illness.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. The person who was taking medications with me actually even died.
Wow.
We were two, yes. So usually how it works is if you're diagnosed of tuberculosis, because of how deadly it is, the nurses usually would monitor you. So if they give you drugs to go take, you would have to come back with the empty pack of the drugs just so that they know that you're taking it. Then from time to time they call you and all that. And then the girl that was paired with me, they'll pair you to a nurse so that the nurse can be able to monitor you properly. So the girl that was paired with me died, although she also had AIDS, so it was like worse for her. And one of those days, we just went to the hospital to take the drugs because the one I had finished. And the nurse just told us that that girl, okay, I think I was the one who asked of her, and she just said, oh, that she died, that she called them and they told her that she died and everything. So
Mm.
yeah, my mom was very scared. Like I said before, she was already seeing something else. She's lost faith and everything. My mom was very, very scared. But my dad, I've always known my dad to be a person of faith,
Mm.
so I love to think that it was his faith and that of my mentors that actually even quickened me because
Mm.
every single morning my dad would come to place his hand on my head and he would pray for me and just make prophecies that this is not what God said concerning me, that he refused every kind of sickness that leads to death, that he's not using me, those kind of words. He would always say
Yeah.
them every morning. He'd pray over me and all. My mentor would come to the house, he would bring messages on faith and just play them at the background. And then when I
Mm.
tell him that he shouldn't bother, that I'm going to die, he'll just laugh and say, you can't die, that is not possible, that I'm going to die, and everything. So it wasn't a funny experience. Now that I look back at it, I just thank God for the people He surrounded me with first, and
Mm.
then the mercy He showed me, because that's how I love to see it. But one very significant thing I noticed, especially as it relates to the admission part, was
Okay.
the fact that when I when I decided that, what, this is just it. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm I'm done for. I'm fed up. I'm tired. That was actually the time the admission came. And
Are you
I've seen this
serious?
over and over. Yes, I've seen this over and over and over with God. When we try to get things, like we just put our hearts to it and we're striving for it, especially for the wrong reasons. And I am so sure that if I had gained admission at the time I wanted to gain admission, I probably would have been influenced by peers and
Mm.
falling
Okay.
into the wrong hands, because in my head it was just about exploring. It was the first time I was going to leave the house and nobody is monitoring me and all of that. So it was just about the exploration for me. It was not about even going to learn or get a certificate or anything. It was just about going out of anybody's grip and just being on your own, being independent. So God saw that and just used everything He could to delay the admission. And then when I felt like, okay, you know what, I'm tired, whether this is coming or not, I'm tired. And then God, you know,
Came
God brought
through.
it. Yes, God brought it my
He
way.
he actually kept you at that point where you feel like you need him.
Mm, true.
Because at that, let's say you the process of your illness, you're like, God, is it that you're not coming through anymore for me? And he
Mm,
answers what you've been knocking on the door for. I need an admission. Just come through. I've written. Are you
mm,
not seeing me that I've written this exam enough? I have been
mm,
faithful. And then an illness comes that you take your mind off it. There's something someone said to me, not just to me, during our fellowship yesterday. She said, one thing God does is that He keeps us waiting most times so that we learn. Because most times our nature will make us feel like, God, I need this. Once we get it, we are out again.
mm-hmm,
But when you are there praying over it over and over, it tends to bring stamina to trust. And thank God that I like what you said your dad did. Speak over you that that's not the promise. I recall a video I watched about Abraham. One
mm,
thing that I don't know, my mind or most persons, when they read through the Bible, they'll be like in chapter 26 of Genesis, God told Abraham, you have a son better through your own loins. And the next chapter, we are seeing Isaac coming.
mm.
The Bible didn't really show us the time Abraham
How
had to.
long?
We flip through 5 pages, he's waiting. 6 pages, he's waiting. 7 pages, but they did a video of that experience, how he waited. He kept on saying the promises of God over what he said, despite Sarah would keep telling him, where is the God you said told you?
Mm,
I like the fact that your dad spoke over you. I'm a person that if you
yeah.
come to me and you say negative, I'll tell you, please don't say it around me. Don't.
Mm,
I'm restructuring. Maybe I might have grown in an environment where they didn't say this, but I'm restructuring the things that I now see intentionally over my life. I
mm,
may not see, but I'm saying it. And I am grateful that you said that because most persons, maybe one person might be saying it, it means a lot. It means
mm.
a lot. And
True.
I took that because that word that your dad kept saying over your life, despite it might be little, you'll be like, what is this man saying? Are you not seeing that you're going? Things like that. And yes, people around you, your mentor coming around, playing those things and laughing. I don't know
True.
why people say mentors are not really good. Some people be like, there is no need. Do you have anything you really want to tell people as regards that?
Yeah.
Because
I, I think if people say things like that, they probably have some sort of experiences on that line that made
okay.
them talk that, yes, that made them talk that way. And sometimes I don't blame them. Sometimes I think it's just them generalizing things,
Mm-hmm.
and not being open to want to get what's the word now? To want to get used again like they were probably before that time. Because I've heard people say talk about mentors as people who are domineering, mentors who ask people to wash their plates, wash their clothes, buy things for them, and I don't know that kind of mentorship, but
Yes, people. Yes. I know it's becoming super duper interested, and I'm so sorry for breaking in. Right. So, guys, I really want to do a very quick task with you all, and thank you for listening to this point. If you had been listening, thank you so much. Today, we talked about failure, but we want you to do something in this journey that you're listening with us with Joy Davis. Bring out your pen, bring out your notepad. Let's begin. Now, you've heard about failure. I want you to write things that you feel you are on that has taken a lot of time, but you seem not to get it. you know particularly what it is. Write them down. Now it's time to have an honest conversation with your maker. Yes, one of the things she spoke about that resonated so well with me is the fact that most times we do things without really asking the Lord, if is this what you want me to do part-time? Yes. I'd had things that I had failed, I had done, I had failed. But at some point, I felt I was disconnected with my maker. I had to go back and reconnect back. So you might be different. Just think through it. Are you doing it because your motives are wrong? You heard what Joy said. She just wanted freedom. But right now, you think through, are your motives right? Even the Bible says that while we ask, we don't receive, it is because of our motives. So it's time to just evaluate your motive. Pen down your motives towards that thing that you have gone through over again and again and again. And I know sincerely God wants us to prosper even as our soul prospereth. Then secondly, we talked about mentors. Do you have mentors? Do you feel that there is no relevance of it? Do you feel so? Now it's time you think about it. Whether you like it or not, the earth has someone that mentors you directly or indirectly. So it's time to really have that discussion with yourself. Pen down things you spend your time with, because those are your mentors indirectly. Yes, they are because you tend to speak like them. You tend to be nurtured in a way by their lifestyle, whatever you think they are doing. So it's time for you to really have those things penned down and you evaluate if they are good for your growth. Yes, lastly, a wise man once said, if a purpose of a thing is known, abuses are inevitable. So today I urge you, know specifically what it is you are going in for. If you fail at it, get up, do it again. Do it again and again. But in the process of it, learn. So guys, let's go back into our discussion.
All right.
So there are mentors who tell people to wash their plates, wash their clothes, and do
When
menial jobs for them. There are mentors who turn their mentees into servants and errand boys and girls. But
mm,
that's not what mentorship is about. I, I think that mentorship is something that everybody needs. Every single person needs mentorship. It's one thing that has built me to be the woman that I am, and I am
okay.
forever grateful to God for it. So mentorship is not what many times when I hear people say these things, I don't understand mentorship to be that way. Maybe because I've never experienced it before.
Okay.
But I think that mentorship is, you know, stretching your hands to someone who needs your help and just raising them up to the level God wants them to be, and ensuring that they find their purpose and just walk in it. That's what for me mentorship is about. And um, the person you're trying to help a is not lower
Mm,
in this case. Yes, you are just privileged to you're just privileged to work on this. It's like having a farm and you're just privileged to work on this field, while
mm,
the owner of the farm comes back, and then you'll be rewarded even for it. So it's not like the person
mm,
is lesser than you exactly. Of course, you've gone ahead of the person, somewhat. Or if the person, I mean, I'm talking about the Christian community now, by the way.
yes.
So
Yeah.
you've gone ahead of the person and all, your spiritual growth, everything, but that person God has given you the privilege to raise is also a child of God, and
Mm,
a king, all right, like just like you. So he shouldn't be treated any less. In fact, that will
yeah.
make God angry. So I
Exactly.
think that that's the thing that a lot of people have done with their mentees, that's made a lot of young people just decide that, okay, I'm not going to have anybody mentor me again and all. But virtually everything I know now, virtually everything I know, and I'm so proud to say it. I say it everywhere, every time I have the chance to. Virtually everything I
Okay.
know right now was as a result of mentorship. I got
Mm,
born again because of mentorship. Even the admission came because of mentorship.
okay.
Everything found purpose because of mentorship. I
Mm,
started to know how to read books, like not just school books, how to just sit on my own and decide to read and study and spend some time with God because of mentorship. So
mm,
mentorship made me, I'll put it that way. And I know that it's something that makes everybody, it's just God's construction for
mm.
help you. He gives you a mentor. That's just how it works.
I feel Christ was a mentor to his disciples
Mm-hmm.
because every single one of them had their issues. Check out Peter. Peter is really anger driven.
Yes.
But when Christ left, you could see how he could command a crowd in
Mm-hmm.
love.
Mm-hmm.
I think the place of mentors can really not be overemphasized, the
Besides,
importance of
yes.
having them in our lives.
Yes.
Navigations, they understand and they want to take you by the hand, not like they are gods, no, no, no,
Mm-hmm.
in your life, but they are just that navigation tool that you need. Just like you need Google Map in an area that you've not
Mm-hmm.
been.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel they are. And I,
Yeah.
I, I must say it's good that your mentors were there with you at that timing because
Mm-hmm.
it's so easy to really lose focus.
Yeah.
I recall a time that I had been praying for a particular thing in my life, and here's my mentor calling me at late into the night. Hello, love, how are you? And he started praying. I'm like, Father, it's you that know what he has said, but I thank you that somebody's praying with me. It's not like I've not
Mm-hmm.
been praying, but you see, I will not call it like everybody have whatever they play in your life, the covering they give you, the shield, and how they come in. So that's really a good one. Then through your process of those illness and the admission coming, what was your thoughts? What was your position at God at that point?
Okay, so the admission came few months, should I say few months or some months after my recovery.
Okay.
Yes, some months after my recovery, and at that time, I had grown by God's mercy some sort of
Mm,
personal relationship with God more than I had at the time I finished from secondary school and wanted the admission badly. So
mm,
at that time, I'd learned to just be firm with my faith that I
okay.
could go somewhere and someone says things like, why you being too righteous or why you being too churchy, and it doesn't
Mm,
even get to me. Yes, so before then, it's something I may just hear and I'm like, okay, I think I need to tone down a
you
little.
justify it, yeah.
Yeah, so at that time, I had grown in my relationship with God, plus the miracle God gave me by healing me was more than enough
Yeah.
to just strengthen my faith. So there was nothing anybody could tell me that, would make me not be a Jesus girl wherever I find myself. So
Okay.
that's just really helped me throughout school. It was one thing um, I think I was known for, in my rooms, all the rooms I stayed in my class, in church, everywhere. So
Mm,
my disposition at the time, with God was, I think it was gratitude because I just felt that, okay, since this admission has come now, it means that there is something He wants me to even do in this school.
mm-hmm.
So one of the things two things, I started to pray for two things. I first of all started to pray that, okay, three things actually. I started to pray that God doesn't let me graduate from school and I don't look like what I studied in school. Like I
Mm-hmm.
finished studying English and Literary Studies and then I tell people this is what I did in school and they're like, are you joking or you're serious? I want to look like, so my prayer, I told God specifically that I wanted to look like what I studied. And
Okay.
for me, it was to improve on my diction
Okay.
classes. And quite unfortunately, my school doesn't even offer you that expressive tut
Mm.
training on diction and everything. And so I was praying to God about it because aside from wanting to look at my course, it was something I really, really loved. So I
Yeah.
prayed about that. I pray that God should not make me finish from school and then I finish confused because I've seen a lot of graduates finish from
Oh
school.
my
In fact, I had
God.
someone who, yes, I had someone who texted me one time, and that really caught me. He said he was done with school for 7 years and he didn't even know what his life was about. He was done with his NYSC. He was just, a lot of things he shared at the time, and I was like, how can someone be done with school for like after 7 years? You're just running in circles. So
That's a
that,
reality check, honestly.
yes,
It's a
yes.
reality to most persons in Nigeria, and I
Mm-hmm.
almost got into that travel. And thanks to
Wow.
God that I met people during my NYC that we kept praying, God, what is it after here? Because
Yes.
now I'm done with school, I'm done with service. Now it's now
Mm-hmm.
facing toward myself. It's a
Mm-hmm.
reality check, like a reality question most youth have to ask themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't go by. Where has God stationed you? What does He have for you to do this
Yeah.
particular time? Because you
Yeah.
can be lost with, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. You're not finding fulfillment in it. Like I
Exactly.
really like that you had that prayer there. It's really
Yes.
very interesting.
Yeah. So I actually had the prayer out of here. I just didn't want that to be my lot. I didn't like the idea that you're done with school and then that's when you begin to now think of what to do. I
Mm.
just felt that I need to find out what it is I will be doing after here. So that,
Okay.
in fact, I prayed it this way. I told God to show me what it is. So much so that school becomes like a distraction. Like I can't wait to be done with school so I can just focus
Yeah.
on it. Yeah, so that's how I
All the
pray
undergraduates, hope people are listening because
it.
navigating out, it's really seriously, it's really the noise and the whole distraction in school that you might not know that there is life after
Life after
the
school. Yes.
serious one that there will be no more the norm that class. Now you are going to class in your own life,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so frustrating if you don't know what to do,
Mm-hmm.
if
True.
you don't know who is navigating your life or what is navigating your life. It's so frustrating. That's why you hear people. I heard one time someone was sharing with me that a young girl was feeling depressed. I said, What is the meaning of I hate that word. What's the meaning of that? She should go
Mm-hmm.
and find God. She should not use that word because you're not going out, you're not engaging yourself. You should read, engage your mind, because if you don't engage your mind, firstly, there's no book that can outdo the word of God, because
Yeah.
I feel that the first encounter that you have to have, because you build yourself, you build your mind is occupied daily with God's word, and you're not finding strength to know exactly what He wants you to do part time.
Mm-hmm.
People they overlook what the Bible could do to your life and building
Mm-hmm.
you up. So it's my first go to people when they say, I'm facing this, I'm facing first, maybe study the word. Even though you don't know how to study, read it. Start with reading it. Yes, most people be like, I don't know how to study it. I don't get it. Just read it like a normal text. Read it first, then come again, and you'll be able to study. That's really good. I like that fact that those prayers were your anchor towards your life when you got into school. And when
Yeah.
you did that towards those processes, so how could you say your navigation was? And you said you were comfortable to tell people that, oh yes, so I'm a proud Jesus girl, because you had
Mm-hmm.
the experience of what God has done.
Yeah.
So what is through the journey in school and the failure part, you've already told us that this is what you kept doing, then you had illnesses. How
Mm-hmm.
did you go through school with that journey and the failure? Did it really paint to you that, okay, oh, if I fail in anything that I'm doing in this university, I know someone is there to pull me out, someone that can never fail because he brought me at this particular time. So was
Mm.
it what you had in your mind? God brought me, so come what me.
Okay. I don't. I don't think that was I don't think that was like a highlight in my heart
Okay.
at the time. Yes, I think what was more pronounced in my mind was just to go through school and look like my course first off,
Okay.
and then to not be confused after school and to find my purpose. So I wanted to discover what it is God has called me to do, and I wanted to find out while I was in school because I wanted to just start doing it, you know. So
Okay.
on the other part, okay, I had grown at that time to trust God. So it's
Mm.
not just yes, so it was a point where I knew that even for things as little as my transport fare from my hostel to school, that may be as small as 15 naira, I have to trust God for it if I don't have it. There were days I trusted for pure water. Like I didn't have pure water, I didn't have money to buy, and also I had to trust God to provide. And before I knew what was happening, someone would just come and say, "Oh, there's pure water here," or I'll go to a friend's room and luckily she has pure water. I'll just take from her and all of those experiences. So that was there, but what was majorly um in my mind at the time was just finding out what my purpose was about, because I think that purpose is paramount in our lives, and
Mm.
our
Yeah.
fulfillment actually lies on what it is God has called us to do, and then everything that we would ever become is nothing compared to when we begin to journey in the place of purpose. I
Mm.
love to tell people that you've not seen your best self yet until you discover purpose. You've not touched what relevance even is until you find purpose. When you
Mm.
find your purpose, that's when you begin to uncover who you are. You know, purpose is not a destination, it's a journey. So you begin to uncover who you are. And all that, and that was exactly what happened with me. I love to say that my life actually began in 2019 when I discovered what my purpose was and I started to walk in it. That was when my life started actually. I think in my study notes when I had the um, revelation of what it was, I wrote it down there. This is the beginning of my life, because
Mm.
yeah, that's where my relevance started. That's where fulfillment. You know how you're doing this thing, and you just know that this is God. This is where God wants you to be. This is the place and everything. And it was also not easy at all. But I
Mm.
mean, it's better to walk in purpose, um, as tough as it may be, than not to walk at all in it. So
Yeah. I think one thing that I could really say is experience brings trust because all throughout those experiences, in
mm,
your own thoughts, you're like, God, are you there? You kept
mm,
going.
mm,
They're the big one that happened, the illness.
yes,
And you now said because you have now grown, when you went into the university, you had now grown to trust God, even as things as little as fair or maybe provision.
mm,
It got dawned on me that when I'm chasing things that has to do with my needs, I had tried, it didn't work. So I then told
mm,
myself, maybe why don't you rely back to God, like hold on to Him. If
yeah.
He said, if He dresses the lilies,
Mm,
like the white flowers, those things, I didn't know, you know what more than them, but He clothed them. He'll
yeah.
definitely provide. He'll definitely come through. So it's a very interesting story listening to you, and I must say it's one that I'm glad you went through, and you are so open to share your story, and we appreciate
Mm,
that you
mm,
went through this journey with us, like telling us your navigations, how you went through it, and your anchor now that come what may. I had built on that. I had built, and I now know where I am in Christ. That I will not let anybody take that away from me. That's one thing that me I can take. Maybe every other person might have taken something different from what I'm saying.
mm.
So I will want to ask for those intending to go to the university, because a lot of us a jam had jammed them, why is still
Yeah,
jamming them.
actually.
what word do you have for them, for those experiencing maybe failure or things outside academics, life in general, just like the person reach out to you to tell you that it seems I don't know where I'm headed to.
Mm.
I like the fact that I also talked about purpose. What do you have to say to them? Because a lot to be running through a lot of person's mind in their different journeys. They might not be going through the same thing you did, but what can you say to them that will help them even in the navigation of their own journey?
Okay, so first off, I'm going to say that, and now I'm talking to people who are Christians, right? People who are born again. I'm
Yeah.
going to say that failing doesn't mean that you're a failure. That you failed at
Okay.
something doesn't mean that you're a failure. It's just an occurrence. It's not who you are. If you're
Mm,
born again, if you're a child of God, you are a winner. Like you are an inborn, you are born to win. You're a winner. That's what the Bible, says when it says that we're the head and not the tail, we're above only and not beneath. So if you're a child of God, you are a winner. That's not even something to negotiate. All right. So if I write an exam, for example, and I don't pass, it doesn't make me a failure. It just means that
mhm,
I have to study better, to find a better approach to getting the
mhm,
results. So that's the first thing I would love to say. And then, secondly, I would also say that every time we fail at something, God is building something greater inside of us. For God,
mhm.
it's more about the development of you, of yourself, the
Yeah.
development of His child than whether you're passing or failing or whatever. God is more interested in you being made into something beautiful, like He was for me. All right,
Yeah.
I would have rushed into school, and I really don't know how my life would have turned out to be. But all through those years, God was building something. So God was building audacity, God was building trust, God was building resilience, God was building faith in me
Mm,
that I could not even have imagined that, you know, I could have such kind of things residing in me. So every time that there is a setback or there's failure or even success, all right,
mm,
it's God trying to build you into something, because that's what God's more interested in. God is more
mm.
interested in our
That's true.
development. God is more interested in our building, in our build up than anything else. So
Yeah.
um for someone who is going through a hard time or a time that looks like a setback, or it looks like things are not progressing, all right, that's the first thing I want you to understand, that you're not a failure. You may have failed at something, you may have failed at not understanding the season you're at, but you are not a failure yourself. It's just a season and it would
Mm,
also pass, like it is a season. And there's no season that stays forever. If you have the Harmattan season, it doesn't stay from January till December. It will definitely pass. But you see, God, like I said before, is more interested in developing you. For the children of Israel, God didn't really mind them going through the wilderness for 450 years as
mhm.
much as he was concerned about their faith in him. All right, so
Yeah.
that's just what God always looks out for. God is not interested in how many times Peter would fall into the sea because he didn't trust him. God was not interested in him being built to believe that Jesus can deliver him at any time, and he
Mm,
had that capacity within him. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing I would want to say, especially to the people, maybe there's someone listening here and you will jam, and jam has jammed you. And maybe you're going to go to WAEC or something, and WAEC has WAECed you. Maybe it's written for 2 times or 3 times or whatever. One of the things if I have an opportunity to talk to my younger self, one of the things I'll tell my younger self to um, is to find my life, all right, to find my path and find my
mm.
life. I
Yeah.
can't even imagine how much I would have become by now if I had discovered purpose at that time where I was struggling with gaining admission. I
Right.
like my life would have, anyways, but we give God all the glory. I'm just trying to say that if you're doing this and it's not working, maybe the school thing is not working for now. I'm not saying you shouldn't try again. I'm just only trying to say that you should put your focus more on finding your life. School is just a 4 years journey. At most six,
Good.
7 years, you're done. But you have a life of about 70, you know,
80,
80.
100.
God helps you, you live to 100. You have like 90 something years left out of the 4 years of your life. So that's a lot.
Relevance.
It's wisdom to concentrate on something that you're living for 96 years. It's wisdom to concentrate on 96 than just four. Okay. What
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to say is that if you find your path and find your life, it's even going to help you when you're in school, because school is just for 4 years. This is for eternity. This is what you're going to be doing forever, for as long as you live on the earth. All right.
That's
So
true.
find your life, and one of the ways to even do that is can be by volunteering. Let's
Yeah.
say, for example, you want to be a medical doctor and you're taking the JAMB exams, it's not working, you're writing your work, it's not working. You can go to a hospital, you can write to a hospital to just intern with them. They don't need, ask them, don't ask them for a pay. Tell them you just want to be around. If they have any errand they want to run, maybe buy syringe, buy this, do that. And before you know
Mm.
what's happening, you've gained knowledge more than the people who even gained the admission before you, because some people are more after the certificate and the name than the knowledge itself. All right, so you can
Mm.
intern somewhere, you can volunteer with, and thankfully we have social media that makes it easy. We have the internet that makes it easy. You can just go online to look out for medical groups that you can be a part of, so that
Part
when
of
they're having this kind of event or programs or something, you just read
can
God.
tag
You
along.
mustn't wait till, yes, you mustn't wait till you get the admission before you start reading. You can borrow books. You can go to the library, get books on medicine, and just start reading. If you have a friend, family friend, anybody that's practicing already, you can ask them questions. You can go on YouTube. You can, just make yourself relevant while you wait. Okay, so the waiting period may be hard, but if we trust God through it and then make it count,
Mm-hmm.
make it make sense by ensuring that our lives are not hung on, you know, on on a pole waiting for something to happen, then
Mm-hmm.
we're going to see how beneficiary it's going to turn out to be. And then lastly, I'm going to
Okay.
be talking especially to the people who have tried and tried and tried and tried and have probably even lost hope and thought that God can never come through for you. You
Mm.
probably have written exams several times. Maybe it's not even WIEC, maybe it's a more professional exam. Maybe it's
Exams.
IELTS, yes. Maybe it's your visa. You've tried applying severally and it's not working. If there's anything I know, is that God works with time, all right?
Mm.
And sometimes the time we plan for these things to happen is not God's best time for us. So it's best we go to inquire of God to know, because that was one thing I never did. I never asked him, this school I'm applying to, even, is this the school you want me to go to? Is this the time you want me to gain admission into school?
Right.
Because why the rush even? So um these are things you need to go back to God and ask him, do you want me to even apply for the visa? Do you want me to write this exam again? If yes, what school should I write the exam at? Sometimes it's the little answers you get from questions like this that makes all the difference. It could just be that you're applying to the wrong, like for me, I think I was applying to the wrong school and I was going to do the wrong course. But when I changed schools, I just gained the admission and it was just so stressless and easy. And after
Yeah.
graduation, I am so sure that I never would have schooled in the other school I was applying for. Every time I go there, I just know in my spirit that this was never the place, and where I schooled in Uniport was actually where God wanted me to be at, because you know a lot
Okay.
of confirmations here and there. So sometimes it's not where God wants you to be at. Sometimes it's not what God wants you to do, but you keep trying at that particular spot and trying and trying and trying again. It's important to always ask God to know what He wants us to do. Ask God to know where where He leads. What is your take, God, on this thing I'm about to do? And then you see God come through with answers if you are willing and you're humble enough to just listen to His voice. And then if He has said that this is it, this is what it's going to be, it's also important to have faith in Him. If God has said it, He will do it. You don't need to work
Mm.
your way through it. If God has said it, He will do
No
it.
need
He
helping
has,
God.
yes, exactly. No need helping God. He has more than what it takes to fulfill what He has said. If He has said it, God will do it
Mm.
eventually. So, yeah.
There's nothing impossible. I really like everything you said. I think you've said everything, or you've said everything. It's a development. Nobody will see, no child or no parent will see a child developing. I would not want that child to develop to the fullest.
Mm,
Because God, He watches everybody, like millions of persons in the world. He watches over you, everybody, not just me, every single person. So He wants you to develop, to mature, to let you out.
yeah, yeah,
If you're not matured enough, He won't send you out half baked.
mm,
So thank you so much,
exactly.
Joy, for sharing your story and also really encouraging us in our own journey. Because one of the things that we will encounter, maybe success or failure at any point in our life, and holding anchor that God definitely is with us. It's one
Mm,
interesting and amazing thing I've gotten today. And thank you for encouraging us with your story. Thank you for giving us the words we need even in this time and season and age in our lives. And for those that are waiting on God for that particular breakthrough, just remain there. He's forming you out to something bigger and better. Don't just
yeah,
see it as it's going to end at that point that you need that breakthrough. There's more to your life. There's more. She spoke about purpose and getting clarity on what you have to do, not just at that time
mm,
or eternity. What is it? So we really want to wrap this. Thank everybody that listen and will still keep listening. Thank you,
mm.
everybody. We pray that the
Thank you.
message towards this podcast at every episode you get it and God really strengthen your heart towards your journey and keep you
Mm.
stayed always at Him. Thank you so much, Joy, for honoring our invitation. We love
Thank
you
you
very
so much
much.
for
Thank
having
you.
me. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Hi, Voyagers! Thank you so much for listening to the very first episode here at Hope Voyage Podcast. I sincerely want to say a very big thank you. We appreciate and we want you back. Yes, the second episode will be released on the 30th of May 2024, and that goes on and on and on. Just to let you know that this is a journey, it goes on and on. So do also subscribe if you are using a YouTube to listen to this, and follow us on Spotify so you don't get to miss any of our episodes once it's out. Thank you very much.